Hey everybody, welcome back. Steve here from Steve's Garage. Y'all know old Earl. He's the inspector, keeping an eye on everything around here. Well, it's another beautiful day here in Western Mass. Cold mornings though. The other morning we had a 29-degree morning in May 18th, I think it was, or 19th. And I lost some of my blueberries, got burnt from the frost. All the grapevines in back, the leaves are dead. My Japanese maple did a top frost on that, killed a lot of the leaves. And luckily my apples were all good. The past couple of years we've had the blossoms out on the apple trees, and we've got frost, and it killed the apples. I haven't had apples in 2 years, so this is my third year, and the apples are still on there, and I'm hoping we're having a good year, because we make apple cider and apple pies and all kinds of great stuff, and of course we eat them all. So nothing like fresh off the tree. We don't use any pesticides. I don't spray, so they're truly organic. They're in my lawn. I do have lawn care. I mow the lawn, but they we get fertilizer and all that. So I think it kills two birds with one stone right there. So anyway, I've been busier than a one-arm wallpaper hanger. Let me tell you something, and that's busy. Busier than Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. So I did get, the last video we were talking about the yoke. The yoke was, had a rotten broken bolt with no threads on it. And now I've welded on a new bolt, which works wonderfully. And I ground it all down, so the lower spring will go on. That goes underneath the frame. And then you have two springs here that go down to the frame, so you get kind of like a bouncy bounce action, and keeps everything from breaking metal apart. So it's all been cleaned up and spray painted, and I'm very happy with that. So now we're going to show you the installation of that. And so let me move the camera, and I will get you all involved there. I'm going to put the camera over here, I think. All right, so here we are in May. I had my birthday last week, May 16th, and my wedding anniversary, which was our 20th wedding anniversary. I've been together with my wife for 30 years, but we only got married after 10 years. And so 30 years together, had a wedding anniversary and my birthday, all in the same couple of days. So we had a nice time. Went down to Old Cape Cod, had a bunch of laughs down there. That was about it. So I've been cleaning up everything as we go, and using the old bolts that are good, replacing bolts that are bad, and that is that. So, looking for my ratchet. I try to get as much together as I can before we start these things, but I can't think of every detail. My father always said, stop a half turn before it breaks. That was good advice. All right, that's on there. Now we're going to put those springs on. So these are the springs that go between the frame. There's a little plate there with two little dimples on it that hold the spring in place. What we're going to do is kind of place them, then we're going to drop the motor down. Drop this down a hair. That's on. That's on. I think we're good. All right, we are in. I want to get rid of this thing here. Let me get the right socket. See what you're looking at. Okay, so that's in place. It's always the other one. 50% wrong. So these bolts on the head are torqued in a pattern that you can go online, the Ford forum, old Ford forum, or I have a Ford book, a couple of Ford books that tell you the pattern in torquing these head bolts. So you don't just go haphazardly around and crank them down. There's a pattern, and you follow that pattern, and you start at 35 pounds of torque, then you go around that pattern to 45 pounds of torque, then you go around that pattern one last time to 55 pounds of torque. And your bolt, so your head is down to the specifics of old Henry. And when you're done with that, the whole reason for doing that and following that pattern is now you've got that head gasket down, and the head has a tiny bit of flex. I'm sure not too much. And you now have your head gasket will be, leak free in best case scenario. But of course, I never hesitate to put a little head gasket sealer in there, because why the hell not? You got it off, do it. All right. So, let's get rid of this. I'm dying to get rid of the engine hoist, because it just kind of blocks the view of everything we're doing here. But we couldn't do it without it. Okay, now underneath, I don't know if we can get underneath, but we'll try. Let me get a blankie. You go through a lot of clothes when you're doing this stuff, so I try to put blankets down and stuff because of the obvious. Keep your clothes from getting destroyed. I don't know if I got the right path here. I think I'm going to go from the front. Okay. Release the camera. Getting some live action for you. Moving on here. So bear with me on this. I'm going to pause you for a second while we get reset up. I'm going to show you where those springs are. See here? Down here. All right, hang on one second. All right, so now we're down below deck. This is that bolt that we just went over, and on goes the spring from the yoke. Trying to do this one-handed. Now this, whoops, I got the wrong thing going on. Hang on, we're pausing one more time. Okay, so I had to get a metal washer right here. Above that, if you can see it, it's a rubber washer in there, hard rubber, which will give us some, you know, again, body mount protection. Then this washer, the spring, the castle nut, and I also put Loctite on it, although we do have to put a cotter pin in there. So tighten this sucker up, and I went over my other Model A and just kind of looked at it to see what they had for tension on there, and I made the bolt exactly the same length as the original, which was 2 inches. So they kind of crank it up. And I'm sure this will settle down a little bit also. This motor will probably settle down a little bit as we hit some bumps. So I'm not going to go too tight. I'm just going to go with what I saw from the other Model A. It goes up about like that. And like I said, this motor will probably settle, I'm sure, a little bit from everything's freshly bolted, and the weight of it will settle it down a hair. So there you have it. We're coming along, getting up off the floor. Ain't no yoke about it. There's that yoke in. We now have our motor mounted and in place. The next thing we're going to do is the brakes, which is a lot of detail because this was Model A, which had mechanical brakes, and we are now going to a juice brake system, and so there's a lot to do. So let me show you. Let me get a clamp. Got a C-clamp here. And this is going to be our new brake system going in. Approximately there. That is not going to work because the clamp isn't long enough. Let me get another type of clamp. I'll show you what we're doing here. Wood in there, that's what it is. All right, coming back to me now. So we had the brake in place. And for mock-up purposes, that's good enough. I want to show you guys what we're doing. Get the brake even right there. There. All right. So this is where our brake is going to go. This is floor height, so we're way under it. The reservoir goes here, which is right here. So the reservoir goes on here. Again, under the floor, we'll have access to add fluid to that. And the pedals, this is the clutch pedal, which we got plenty of room there. And this is the brake pedal, which works in play. I've just got to bolt it in here by hand. I've got to move a couple things around still, and but that's basically what's happening. The other thing I've got to do is see the height. I'm going to cut this leg here and drop it down so we get the height is about the same, and get some rubber for here, and get that brake down where it's supposed to be. So that's about it. It does miss the engine. It clears the engine on the side. So I've already tried this stuff out before, so I'm just kind of mocking it up quick for you to show you what's going on. So then I've got to run lines to the back. We actually have these lines in place already in the back here. Come up to a diverter, and there is the this is where we'll hook into. I'm gonna, so I'll replace. This is old stuff, so we're getting all brand new for that. And then we've got, I'm gonna buy some braided lines that will hook in here, and then we'll put them into this side of the frame here, so we'll have nice chrome braided. And then simply run our lines back into the reservoir for the master cylinder, put a diverter in so we can, separate the front from the rear to adjust so we have the proper stopping on all 4 tires. I'm also put an inline brake light switch, which will work from the pressure of the fluid. Both the pressure switch for getting brake lights. And again, trying to kind of explain all this on the fly. But as I get parts in, we will give you an update. And that's it. So for today's video, we got the yoke on, engines mounted. I also didn't show you, but you can see if you look back at the video, I've got the torque tube and drivetrain, the drive shaft all bolted in. Just have to crank those bolts down, and that's it. So for now, from me and Old Earl, have a great day. We'll keep you posted. It's coming along. I can't wait to get the brakes done so I can get the body back on and get it painted. We got a long way to go. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back. You guys have a great day, and drive slow, wear your safety belts, all right? We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. Say goodbye, Earl. Goodbye, Earl. There it is.